I make room for God. 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 Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. 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 Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room. Na na na. Na na na. I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room. For God. For God. I make room for God so God can speak through me. I so God can love through me. Oh, I make room. For God, for God, I make room for God, so God can speak through me. I make room, I make room for God, so God can move through me. I make room for God, make room for God, so God can move through me. And it's in my surrender that I found power. Yes, it's in my surrender that I am made stronger. I make room. I make room for God, so God can move. Oh Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. I make room for you. I make room for you. Room for you. I make room for God. 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 Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. 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 Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room. Na na na. Da 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 da. I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. I'm clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. Oh, I make room for God. For God, I make room for God. 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 Clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I make room for God. Oh, I make room for God. 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 Oh, I'm clearing out a space so God can move through me. Clearing out a space so God can speak through me. Clearing out a space so God can love through me. I make room. I make room for God. For God. Oh, I. Oh, I. Oh, I make room.
Hello, hello, happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is so very good to be here with you as we gather together on this Sunday morning to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as us. We are going to begin with prayer, and I'm going to take a moment. I want to read something to ground us and anchor us as we move into today's service. This is a quote that was shared by our dear friend Bob Roth, and I thought it was appropriate to share with each and every one of you. It is from Rabbi Jonathan Sacks. No soul was ever saved by hate. No truth was ever proved by violence. No redemption was ever brought by holy war. No religion won the admiration of the world by its capacity to inflict suffering on its enemies. Despite the fact that these things have been endorsed in their time by sincere religious believers, they are a travesty of faith. And until we learn this, religion will remain one of the greatest threats to peace in the world. And so I invite you here and now to just take a breath in, breathe in through your nose and out from your mouth. Again, we take a deep breath in and we breathe out. A third time, we breathe in and we breathe out. Centering ourselves in this moment, I invite you to place your hand on your heart and affirm, I am here now.
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 There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in you, through you, and as you, that is working in me, through me, and as me. There is one life. That life is Mother, Father, God. That life is good. That life is perfect. And that life is the animating life in, through, and as us now. We are one with God. God is here now. God is here now. God is here now. God is here now. For we recognize the beautiful reality that God neither comes nor goes. Love neither comes nor goes. Ease neither comes nor goes. Healing neither come nor go. They are always right here, awaiting our recognition, awaiting our turning to it, awaiting our looking within for it. And as we recognize that God is here now, we remember that we are one with God and one of God, that this is a eternal, inseparable, inseverable connection. And I am grateful and thankful to acknowledge in this moment the God in you as I recognize the God in me. I am grateful and thankful to remember that you are holy, that you are divine, that you are an individualized expression of the all in all. God is the ocean and we are the wave. What God is in the large, we are. We are and remain in the small. So it is out of this awareness that I speak these words of faith. It is out of this awareness that I speak these words of expectation. It is out of this awareness that I speak this affirmative prayer. We gather together to expand. We gather together to grow our awareness and our consciousness to our relationship and connection with God life. We gather together to expand our awareness and connection of the reality that God is operating in, through, and as us, the reality that we are never alone, the reality that we are worthy, the reality that we are sinless, the reality that we are loved unconditionally, the reality that we have access to great wealth, the reality that we are in truth as a person who has access to a great bank account but thinks they only have a few dollars. Here and now we gather together to recognize the truth of our abundance, the truth of our power, and to deepen our awareness of it so that we can deepen our living of it. I am so grateful and thankful for this community. This community of minds, this community created in consciousness, which supports our growth and unfoldment, which supports us in living our greatest lives, which supports us in remembering and knowing that love is, and embodying this reality unconditionally. I am so grateful and thankful for a space and place that supports us in practicing practical spirituality, that teaches the gospel of well-being. And so we gather together knowing that we will be changed as a result of our intention to be here, knowing that we will expand as a result of our intention to be here, knowing that we will come into a greater knowing of God in, through, and as us as a result of our being here. So it is with joy and thanksgiving that I release this prayer with expectation and confidence. We lift up our voices and we say, amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is, and so it must be. Well, hello again, beautiful people. It is so very good to be here with you on this Sunday morning. So grateful and thankful, as I said in the prayer, to be here with like minds, to be here gathered in consciousness, recognizing that we are all growing and expanding together in our own time, in our own way, and knowing that we will leave here differently than when we came into the space. And that is a good thing. If you are a first-time guest, we're happy that you chose to join in with us today and to stream in with us. And the information you see here on your screen, you may have also seen it in the opening countdown, is how you access the digital connection card. This is how you can stay in touch with us and we can stay in touch with you. We have a weekly newsletter that goes out every Friday. And so to get on that list, you just need to text the word welcome to this phone number, 347-472-1078. We had some issues with our texting service over the past couple weeks that have been rectified, I'm happy to say. So if you're someone that texted in the last couple of weeks and you're like, I didn't get a response, there was an issue, again, which has been resolved. And so we would love for you to join our mailing list. There are only a few fields that you need to actually complete: your name, your email address, and your phone number if you'd like to share it. But your email address is most important because that is how you will get on the mailing list. And you'll receive information that keeps you abreast of what's happening at CSC, anything that we need to communicate with the community, as well as, again, weekly information. But most importantly, we're happy that you're here. Most importantly, we are clear that something will be done, something will be said that will support you in living an empowered life, that will support you in thriving in your life, because that is absolutely possible. We'll support you in seeing yourself differently, seeing your life differently. And so we're excited that you get to experience this thing called CSC that has been sustained over many years and continues to transform lives as we continue continue to live out our mission to serve all creation and equip humanity to live their greatest lives. So again, please use that number to access the digital connection card and share your info. And of course, we're confident that you will receive something powerful in today's service. So with that said, this is a wonderful time to tap into our news and updates. And following that, we can move forward in the meditation, the music, and the message. We encourage you to share, like, comment, and subscribe if you're not already following us across the many social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. By all means, please do that. And also, we encourage you to stay engaged. So again, commenting, sharing, you can share this stream with anyone you think may be interested in it. And we definitely encourage you to subscribe on YouTube so that you can get the notifications as we post things on YouTube. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call that happens at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is a wonderful way to begin your day in the middle of the week with prayer. It's also a wonderful way to continue the momentum that we create here on Sundays. We ground ourselves with a reading on that call, and then we move forward in prayer. The whole process takes 10 minutes or less, but it is very, very powerful, and it can be a wonderful way to start out your day. So we encourage you to be there live with us. You can put this information in your contacts, put it on your calendar so you can remember. But we also recognize that you may not be able to be there live for any number of reasons, and so that is why the prayer is recorded each week. You can use the playback number you see here on your screen, enter the access code and wait, and the most recent prayer will play. You have access to that 24/7, and we encourage you to use that at any time that you need to tap into the vibration of prayer. Each month we highlight a series as we are 10 years old and have so many different sermon series that have been so impactful and beneficial. And so here in the month of October, we're taking ourselves back to October 2015, Superstition Ain't the Way. Inspired by the song Stevie Wonder, when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. That is absolutely true. And there are many superstitions that we hold consciously and unconsciously that are actually working against us metaphysically. I start that series by breaking down and opening up some ideas about Satan and the devil that may be new to you, but will also help you get rid of some of those old phrases and ideas of the devil is busy, et cetera, et cetera. But we go on from there because that's not the only superstition that many of us hold, and it's time to recognize those things so we can let them go so that we do not suffer. I encourage you to check that out. It's available on our YouTube channel. It'll be there on the first page of the YouTube channel. And of course, next week we'll be highlighting another series, but this series will always be available there in the channel for you to check out. In conjunction with our sermon series, Making Room for God, I am offering a free download to each and every one of you of the song from my album, I Make Room. You can just scan the QR code you see here on your screen, or if you're on our mailing list, you can go to the email that it was sent out any Friday of this month, and there's a link to take you to the SoundCloud page, and you can download it or just listen to it. This will be the last week that you're able to access the free download, but you can always stream it at any time on the SoundCloud page. If you have a prayer request, we encourage you to send that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. Our prayer champions, as well as PY and myself, we are constantly holding each and every one of you in the consciousness of prayer, holding the high watch and knowing the best, the absolute best for each and every one of you. But we know that you may have a prayer request, something may be happening in your life, and you want us to align with you in prayer. Or you may want to send a request on behalf of someone you know, a loved one, a colleague, a coworker, who knows who it may be. And we're happy to stand with you and know the truth with you. Again, just send that email to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And that's all you need to do. Now, when your prayer is answered, when you experience a shift, we encourage you to let us know about that as well. Send in an email to that same address and let us know that prayer is working in your life. One of my favorite things. I'm so excited. It is hoodie season. I know we had a burst of late summer, or third summer, I guess we could call it, here in New York and on the East Coast, but it is getting chilly again, and it's definitely fall. And so we have some new designs, including this one you see, the Grateful design, which you can get in time for Thanksgiving. And we encourage you to go to our store, celebrationsc.org/shop, and check out the new designs and get the one that speaks to you. And that concludes our announcements and news and updates for this Sunday, which means we have the wonderful opportunity to go within as we are led in the meditation experience with Pastor Yolanda.
Yes, it is time for meditation. Before we begin, I kind of have a question for you. PG alluded to it, but I want to talk about well-being. How much well-being are you allowing in your life? Is it rushing in like this image portrays? Is it just a little drop, drip drop? For we know that God and the power that is God, the presence that is God, the well-being that is God, is always available to us. But the question becomes, how much are we allowing in? It's not going to force its way in. It's only going to enter at your permission for how much well-being you allow in. Now, well-being is not just health. It is relationship. It is finance. It is every part of your metaphysical body that exists. How much are you allowing in? And this month has been an opportunity to assess what you're allowing in and to release what no longer serves you and make room for more. To listen, to clear, and to quietly plan where you are going from this point. How much well-being are you allowing? And so I'd like to end this month's meditation experience because we know that meditation is just not reciting an affirmation, it is experiencing God. But if your well-being is blocked in any way, if you're only allowing it in certain areas of your life or only a small amount because you feel some guilt or shame or doubt or unworthiness, then you're not taking full advantage of the God that is available to you. The good gets in, but how much? The good gets in, but how quickly? The good will always get in unless you resist it. And so this month we've been talking about making room for God. Making room for a God that is loving unconditionally, making room for well-being, however you want to say it. So today we're going to shift up our meditation a little bit to close out the series. And we're going to do a specific ritual and release to help us make even more room for God. And so, in preparation for the experience, I want you to look around the room as we always do because you need to feel safe in your environment. You need to know that you're here with me and with all of us and that you're connecting to the breath. So look around the room and notice that you're safe. That the outside world is not impacting you in this moment. That your fear, doubt, and worry has no control of your focus in this moment. That you are safe. And so let's go ahead and close our eyes and place our palms on the tops of our thighs. And notice the breath as we always do. Making no judgment of the breath, just noticing it right where it is. Maybe you even notice the palms on the tops of the thighs. And let that sensation of connection allow you to relax. And with each round of breath that we breathe, let that relaxation just make its way like a stream or a river down through your body, through the soles of your feet. And feeling this connection right now. Let's take a few rounds of deep breath together, taking our focus deep into the low belly and inhaling for a count of 4, expanding the low belly. Hold for a count of 4. Open the mouth relax the jaw and sigh it out. It's almost as if you're releasing it from every cell in your body. Maybe you make sound. Maybe it's just the breath being released. Let it go. And notice the silence at the end. Inhale again into the low belly, expanding the low belly. Hold for 4. And whatever you've been holding, blocking your well-being, let it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the sides of the body, sending that breath beyond where you've been holding it constricted. And now hold it there. Open the mouth, relax the jaw, release it. Notice the silence at the end. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, and expanding the sides and the front now and the back of the body, making room for breath, for God to fill. Hold it there. And now sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now making its way up through and to the heart chakra, center of the chest, that altar to the divine. Hold it there. And without collapsing the body, release the breath, release whatever you've been holding to make room. And one more time, in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through and to the altar, that space where healing takes place. Hold it there. Relax the jaw, sigh it out. And welcome the silence. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, and all the way up to the heart. And this time, let's close the lips and exhale through the nose. And this will be our form of breath work, in and out through the nose. Filling up and releasing when we're ready, and making room for more well-being, making room for more God. Continue that deep breath work as we begin to relax the body with a little visualization here. Imagine a red dot, red point of light or energy or warmth, and place it in your root chakra, the base of the spine. See it there on the inhale. It expands. On the exhale, it contracts. On the inhale, it expands and sends warmth through the legs and down through the feet. And on the exhale, it draws back in and up. One more time, imagining, inhaling, expanding that red dot as it expands outside of the body, down through the legs, letting them feel anchored and safe. Exhaling, releasing it in and up, sending that energy, that red light up through the crown. What we are doing with this imagery is grounding ourselves so that we are safe and loved, and sending the signal for our body to relax completely. Let's take a few rounds of noticing that energy flowing down on the inhale, And exhaling, energy flowing in and out through the crown. And now let's bring our focus back to the altar, to the heart. Now that we are grounded and safe and fully engaged, that channel of energy flowing in and up and out through the crown and down through the soles of the feet. We bring our focus back to the heart now. And that space that was filled with this red energy, this warmth, is now glowing green. Energy flowing down through the soles on the inhale and exhale up through the crown, filling the heart and creating a space that we will now occupy. Breath, energy, and God. Place your right hand on the heart chakra at the center of the chest, and the left hand follows on top. Breathe into it. Notice how good it feels to breathe from a full body, a full awareness. And from this place of healing, I want you to call to mind anything that feels blocked in you. Anything that feels as if you're holding any resistance to it, any thoughts of unworthiness, any doubt, any fear, any worry about tomorrow, any regret from the past. And on that green glowing altar of God, place it. The thoughts, the beliefs, the past, the fear. And in your mind, see it consumed, burned, released into this green glowing energy. We make room for God here to heal, to balance, to align. One more deep breath here, placing it on the altar, seeing it consumed and healed. Release your palms back down to your lap. Give yourself permission to turn away from it, release it, let it go. And from this open space, we now make room for God. We make room for more God to rush in, to comfort, to heal, to give us insight on next steps, whatever it is we need. As we prepare for our silent time of receiving God, I will monitor the time you take the healing journey. You just continue to relax and release it all. If the mind wanders, it's okay. Bring it back to this healing center, to this altar to love. Reminding yourself that you've let it go and can continue to let it go. I will monitor the time you take the inward journey. I make room for God. You make room for God. We all make room for God. Now. And with our eyelids still closed, we enjoy the empty space that we've created. With our eyelids still closed, we place in that space love, well-being, ease, clarity, peace, more connection to the divine, health, harmony, and peace. Seeing those things amplified in our being, in our body, in our life, and in our world. And as we make our return, we are filled up with God. We are filled up with knowing. We are filled up with peace. We are filled up with ease. We are filled up with prosperity. Let's bring it with us. Together, inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Filling up, expanding, sending the heart forward as the shoulders draw back and down. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale as we release the shoulders back and down. Bring the palms together at heart center again, realizing we haven't lost our connection in our movement, in our activation. Bow the chin towards the fingertips. Pause, noticing the beating of the heart. It's there, it's always there. God is there and here, always. Slowly allow the eyelids to open, nice and easy, no strain on the eyes or the experience. Keeping our focus of attention on the beating heart and the easy breath. Inhale. Raise the chin, nice and easy. Raise the gaze. Release the breath and hold the God energy. Namaste.
Yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
So we are in the very final week of our series, Making Room for God, which is taking us through a very powerful process, and hearing from many of you. I know that you are transforming and moving through the steps and moving through the exercises, and it has been impactful. And so I'm excited about closing us out today. But of course, before we get into the message, we're going to get into the music, and we're going to hear from Soul 21. And then I will be with you on the other side with today's message, I Am the Plan.
And so this song is a prayer to be used. Because if God can use anything, I know that God can use me. If God can use anything, I know God can use you. And all that is required is your receptivity to say, here I am, I'm available. Use me. There's a call for love. Everywhere we see out in the world, the injustice, the discrimination, the hatred, all of the foolishness, it's a call for love. And love can only be experienced in, through, and as each and every one of us. So we say yes to God as love to express through us. If you can use anything, you can use me. use me. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Take my hands, Lord, and my feet. Touch my heart, Lord, speak through me. If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Soul 21, can we sing that? If you can use
anything, Lord, you can use me.
I just look back in my mind and I think about all of the different things that have been used to inspire me, to encourage me. So I want to be used in the same way.
Take my hands, Lord, and my feet.
Touch my heart.
Touch my heart, Lord, speak through me.
If you can use anything,
You can use anything, Lord, you can use me.
can we pause? If you can use anything,
You can use anything, Lord, you can use me.
I make myself available.
Use anything, Lord, you can use me.
I hear the call of love.
Take my hands, Lord, and my feet.
Touch my heart.
Touch my heart, Lord, speak
You can use
through me. Use
anything.
anything, Lord,
You can use me. We're going to sing that again and feel free to join in. If you can use anything,
use anything, Lord, you can use me.
here I am. Here I am.
Use anything, Lord, you can use me.
The world needs so much love, so take my hands.
My hands, Lord, and my feet.
Touch my heart.
My heart, Lord, speak through me.
You can use.
You can use anything, Lord.
I'm going to stay right there. You can use anything.
You can use
Anything.
Lord, you can use me.
I make myself available.
Use anything, Lord, you can use me.
It just requires our yes. Take my hands and my feet.
Take my hands, Lord, and my feet.
Touch my heart.
Touch my heart, Lord, speak through me.
Take my hands.
Take my hands, Lord, and my feet.
Touch my
Touch
heart.
my heart, Lord, speak through me.
All that I
Take
am.
my hands, Lord, and
My
my
gifts,
feet.
my skills, my talents, my abilities. I bring them here right now. Right
Touch
now.
my heart, Lord, speak.
Take my hands. Take my hands.
Take my
And
hands
my feet.
and my feet.
Touch my heart. Speak through me. I'm bringing all that I am. All that I have. I'm making it available. Oh, take me up. Take my hands.
Take my
And
hands
my feet.
and my feet.
Touch my heart. Oh, take my hands and my feet.
And my feet.
Touch my heart. Take me up. Take me up. Oh, I'm available. Just as I am. Just as I am. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be added. But as I am, I'm available to be used by love, to be used for good, to be used for peace. I make myself available. If you can use
Anything, Lord, you can use me.
if you can use
You can use anything, Lord, you can use me.
I invite you to just consider all of the things, all of the anythings that have been used in your life, all of the anythings that have spoken to you, all of the anythings that have encouraged you.
Lord, you can use.
You can be used in the very same way, in the very same way, in the very same way. Yeah. When you see what's going on in this world, and when it causes you dismay, when it causes you not to feel good, that's the call within you. The call for you as you are right now. Nothing needs to be added. But as you are right now, Life is seeking to express through you, to be good through you, to be loved through you, to be peace through you, to be a loving word through you, to be an encouraging word through you, to be a demonstration, to be a lighthouse, pointing someone to the way that they too can be healed, that they too can be successful, that they too can change their lives, that they too can change their minds. Anything, yeah. Oh. I make myself available. Here I am, just as I am. Here I am, just as I am. I make myself available. That's all that life ever asks. That's the only requirement. It's for you to bring yourself as you are and say, use me. If you can use anything, you can use anything. So it is. So it is. So it is.
Yes, yes, yes. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Wow, that song is continuously powerful. And I'm thinking about it in the context of this month's series as we have been moving through the process of making room. Now we are ready to be used. Thank you, Soul 21 and the CSC Band for that powerful selection. I want to dig right in as I'm excited about today's message. But of course, we always like to review where we've been. And again, as we have 5 Sundays in this month, we've been able to really go deep. And so we started in week 1 with the beginning is the ending. Understanding that the foundation, just like the foundation of a home and the foundation of a building, is critically important in order for that building to rise and thrive. So it is absolutely true for our lives and for our consciousness. And so making room for God is really all about building the foundation that supports the vision for our lives, for the desire that we have for our lives, for our biggest dream. In week 2, the potter and the clay. We disrupted an old idea that says the hymn singing to God, thou art the potter and I am the clay, but affirming and recognizing that I am the potter and I am the clay. See, God already created you and brought you into this life experience. God did its part. And now it's actually up to us to then shape and form our consciousness by creating molds in our minds that then God as substance fills. But God is not the potter or the clay in our realm of experience. And so it puts the onus on us. It puts the keys in our hands, the creative keys in our hands. In week 3, give love your undivided attention. As we talked about listening, we have to know who we are listening to. We worked with the affirmation, love's mind is my mind and love's voice is my voice. And when we listen to love, powerful and wonderful and beneficial and constructive things will come forth. But we have to understand who and what we're listening to in order to move through that process. Last week, receiving the plan was another sermon to disrupt some old thinking. We worked with lesson 135 from A Course in Miracles, if I defend myself, I am attacked. But it's the meat of that lesson that's so powerful where we read, a healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plan which it receives through listening to wisdom that is not its own. And so we delved into the idea of why unhealed mind or even a fearful mind plans in the traditional way we think of it, because actually what it's doing, it's defending itself. It's planning against some future unwanted thing, right? And so we recognize that we don't want to do that. We want to operate from the perspective of a healed mind. And we talked about what a healed mind does and how it works. And very powerful. I trust that benefited you. So in this series, there's 3 steps that we've talked about in terms of making room for God. Step 1 is clearing. Step 2 is listening. And step 3 is planning. And we have moved through a transformative process this month. If you wholeheartedly move through each step and each exercise and made use of them week by week, right, not doing anything more than what you were asked to do each week, then I can guarantee that you're not the same person that you were 4 weeks ago. Why? Because this process transforms your consciousness. And a transformed consciousness inevitably, by law, leads to a transformed life. And so as we close out this series, I want to give you 3 quotes. I love this. It's the same quote, but kind of said 3 different ways. And sometimes it's cool to hear the same idea being shared from different spaces. Now, one is a quote from a man by the name of Joel Arthur Baker. And this quote is actually well known because Mandela quoted it a lot. And because Nelson Mandela quoted this often, it is often misattributed to him in the same way that Marianne Williamson's quote is often attributed to him. It is not our darkness, but our light that frightens us. Mandela quoted that, and people think that he is the originator of it, but it was Marianne Williamson. So the same way, this quote from Joel Arthur Baker says, "Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world." Now, there's a Japanese proverb that says something similar. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. And finally, Reverend Michael puts it this way, Reverend Michael Beckwith: vision without action is fantasy, but action without vision is chaos. 3 different sources giving us a similar idea and a similar meaning. Vision without action is merely a dream, a daydream, a fantasy. Action without vision just passes the time, is a nightmare, is chaos. Now, making room for God is a transformative process, as I said. It only takes a little willingness, and you will leave differently than when you walked in. And through this process, you will learn something very, very powerful. You will learn, I am the plan. Can we affirm that together? You may have never said these words, put these words together in this way, but I encourage you to just speak this out loud right now. I am the plan. I am the plan. Once more, I am the plan. By making room for God through this loving process of quiet clearing, quiet listening, and planning, you have become the plan. You now realize in a clearer way that the life you desire, which you imagined and visualized in week 1's exercise, is possible because of your awareness, because of your willingness, because of your trust, and according to your understanding. And so, knowing that I am the plan, let's take some inspired action. See, it becomes very easy to take inspired action from this vantage point now because we have a foundation. This is why we had to start with the beginning is the ending and understand that we're using this process to build a foundation. It's easy to trust and believe and know that your success is inevitable when you have a foundation. So you've been listening. You've been listening to the voice of love. Love's voice is my voice, and love's mind is my mind. And we know now that a healed mind doesn't plan in the traditional sense. A healed mind receives the plan, and she will not fail. Her execution will be flawless, and she will receive strength. So now it's time to move forward and take the first or next logical step, as Abraham Hicks loves to say. And with each step, we must continue to clear and listen and receive and clear and listen and receive and clear and listen and receive. This is important because what we're doing, we've kind of formed this beneficial loop, right? That as we move through these steps, we're now recognizing the importance of these steps. So it's not a one and done, right? But it's a recognition that we're now incorporating this as a way of life because we recognize that we will always be able to deepen our awareness of who and what God life is, that we will always be able to deepen our awareness of our connection to it, that we will always be able to deepen our awareness of our obligation to express God life. And we will always continuously be uprooting and removing those things that are blocking love's presence, that are blocking the free and clear and easy flow of God life in, through, and as our lives. And so I want to share with you, Pastor Yolanda loves to say, do as we do, not as we say. And I always like to say that, I can't teach something that I don't know, that I haven't lived, that I haven't experienced. I wouldn't do that because I think that would be a great disservice. And so I want to take you all back. I wasn't sure which story I was going to share in this message, and I actually had a completely different story to share, but this one actually seems more obvious and appropriate. So last year, around this time, I had an idea. I had an inkling. It was a nudge. It wasn't something that was fully formed or something that was clear, but what it was just this desire. I knew that I wanted to do something differently with my 90 Days to Greatness coaching program, right? It has been very successful, and I'm really happy with the classes that have come forth and the transformation. And, I have a whole archive of testimonials and thank yous. And I was just speaking with someone this past week who was telling me about the wonderful ways in which this work has benefited her life in very tangible ways, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I'm very grateful, but there was something I knew I wanted to do something different with the program. I also knew that this nudge, I wanted to reach more people. The other thing that was showing up, I wanted to make it more affordable, right? I've been meeting with different people who wanted to work with me one-on-one, but it just wasn't in their budget. And I knew that there must be a way for me to provide a meaningful service and transformative service in a way that was also more affordable. I also wanted to increase my personal capacity to serve while also maintaining my healthy work-life balance, right? Because I knew there was a hustle and grind way to do that, but I knew I would suffer if I went along that path. And so, again, it was just an idea. It was just a nudge. Again, these are just desires. Nothing about this is really specific or tangible. And even as you hear me say this, you might be thinking, oh, well, you could do this or you could do that, or there's a couple ways that you could accomplish that. Now, I want to note something that's important. This inkling, this nudge, this idea, it all came while I was doing my annual clearing process. Many of you know this because I share it often, right? Every October, and I've been doing this for about the last 12 years, I read the 30-Day Mental Diet. And that's my process of clearing because it supports me in doing the things that we talked about. It supports me in bringing my awareness of the nature of who and what God is back to the forefront of my mind. It brings me back to the awareness of my connection and relationship to God life back to the forefront of my mind. It reminds me of who and what I am. It reminds me of my obligation to express more of God in, through, and as my life and my individualized, unique expression. And it supports me in clearing out any of the muck, any of the stuff that I may have acquired in my consciousness simply by living on this planet and living in this world, right? And so that I can continue to keep my pipes clear, if you will, and continue to allow the free flow of source. So this is important because this is why we start with, we got to have a clearing process. And when we start to clear, then we can hear. Yes, yes. And so it was after this clearing process that this inkling, this idea, this nudge had happened. And so I had opened up a space in my heart and mind to receive a plan. And at this point, I did not try to figure it out. I did not try to brainstorm my next step. As I said, even as you heard me talk about those desires, I'm sure some ideas easily would come to mind. You're a smart person. I'm a smart person. We know how to access, practical ideas. But I didn't do any of those things. I didn't try to figure it out. I didn't try to brainstorm the next idea. I didn't do what I had read about or what I had seen other coaches do. I waited until I received clear direction. And it was in that next month, around November, that the direction was to create a new company. And so what I remembered in that moment, the idea of creating a new company, I'm like, well, what am I going to name, my LLC? What is it, what do I want to call this company? What is the new energy around this company? And I remembered one of my mentors, he encourages us to do something daily as entrepreneurs, this practice that he calls thinking on paper. And what it is really designed to do is to get ideas out of your head so that you can see them and work with them on paper. And so what I began to do, taking that idea of thinking on paper and knowing that I had this nudge now that was starting to form into something, into an idea to create a new company, I began to use this process of thinking on paper. So after my daily spiritual practice, which is important, I would write down ideas. Write down different company names, write down different combinations without judgment, just putting things down on the page, right? Getting it out of my mind and sometimes crossing some things out or, I kind of like putting a note in the margins. I kind of like that, or there's something here, right? And I would let it go and I would live out my day. And I would come back the next day and I would look at what I had written, and sometimes something would jump out, or I would look at one thing and it's like, I don't know why I wrote that. That's foolishness, right? I don't like that at all, right? And then I remember there was one idea I highlighted. I was like, I like this. Or something that I didn't think I liked yesterday had a different feel, had a different ring to it. And so using this process of thinking on paper, again, and crossing things out and adding new things, what it reminded me of is something that we learn from the short book, It Works by R.H.J., which is a wonderful process of supporting you in writing down your desires, focusing on them, and into manifestation, into demonstration. But one of the things that he talks about in the writing piece, which is actually very important, is that you will write out your desires to the best of your ability, but it's going to change over time. And this is the beauty of that listening and receiving and becoming the plan. He writes, change the list daily, adding or taking from it until you have it about right. Do not be discouraged on account of changes, as this is natural. There will always be changes and additions with accomplishments and increasing desires. And so this is different than just brainstorming, right? Because what I'm allowing myself to do was receive the plan, and more importantly, what I was really allowing myself to do is become the plan. Can we say it again? I am the plan. One more time. I am the plan. A third time. I am the plan. And so through this process, I indeed was becoming the plan. And when I landed on a name that felt good to me, what did I do? I immediately filed the paperwork, right? And so this process of thinking on paper actually was even more beneficial, because as I began to write out these ideas and began to become the plan, and then eventually chose a name for the company, in that process, there were other ideas that were coming. I was starting to get ideas for new ways to serve my clients, for new courses to create, for new ways to take things that I had taught in the past and use them in new ways, ways to take sermon series and turn that into a class to help folks go deeper. And so all of these wonderful things were happening. Again, I'm becoming the plan. I'm listening and putting it down on paper so I can see it and start to work with it. And as I was receiving the plan, I wasn't worried about the how. I wasn't worried about how these things were accomplished. That wasn't my job at that moment. I shared the story from Edwin Gaines last week, right? Just the idea, can you just be confident in knowing that God knows how to do all of that, right? The how is none of your business. But there was a joy. There was an excitement and there was a vision. I could see it and I could feel it. And that's actually a great indicator for you. This is when you know that you're being pulled by a vision, that you're tapped into a vision, that you're not being pushed by pain, as Reverend Michael says, but you're actually now in the place of recognizing there's something exciting happening and there's something that brings you joy. And I'm just in my little wonderful cocoon of thinking on paper, coming out of my daily spiritual practice and moving into this process, and it's supporting me in wonderful ways. But again, I wasn't thinking about the how. I wasn't looking at my calendar and seeing how much time is it going to take for me to implement these ideas. I wasn't looking at my bank account and trying to determine how much am I going to have to spend on marketing, or how much am I going to have to spend on some platform, or what am I wasn't doing any of that. I was becoming the plan. And so then we fast forward to April of this year. The next idea that came to me was to build an app for my coaching program. And there was a platform that had been on my radar and been on my, just in my sphere of awareness for a while. And at the right time, it was beautiful. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to do this. And then, of course, there was this deep discount on the platform, right? And so I was able to sign up for the ultimate plan with all the bells and whistles that would support me for this platform to build an app, and at a incredibly affordable and reasonable rate. So this is one of the things, right? See, we talked about it last week, and then now I'm sharing with you how it really happens, right? Because we talked about last week this idea that a healed mind doesn't plan; it receives the plan that it receives from wisdom. And when you're operating from this place, there's ease. When you're operating from this place, there's inevitable success. When you're operating from this place, there's a flawlessness to it. And so I had some other projects that I was working on, some other work projects on my plate that I wanted to complete so that I could then focus on building this app, not knowing what the process was really going to be, but I knew there were tutorials. And so, I was like, I'll just, set aside some time and I'll watch these tutorials and I'll figure it out. I'm a smart person, it'll work out. Plus, I'm becoming the plan, right? I know that I'm not alone. I know that I have the support of the universal mind, right? The quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, right? This thing that is the party to all that is. I have all knowledge on my side. I have all wisdom on my side. I have all intelligence on my side. And that's what I rely on. So it'll get done. But interestingly enough, as I had my personal plan, I received, I'm not sure, I'm trying to remember if it was an email or a notification. It was one or the other that was essentially nudging me to get started. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the first video, right? And so as I watched the first video, I watched the first training, I was immediately drawn in. And one of the things that was really interesting as I was watching the training and drawn in, I watched the first training, immediately I was like, okay, I'm watching the next video because I wanted more and I wanted to move forward. But what struck me was that the work I had done last year, the work that I had done thinking on paper and receiving the plan had actually prepared me in ways that I could not have known or realized at the time. Because the things that I needed at every step of the training, I had already done. I had already received. I had already written down. All I had to do was go back to the plan that oh my Lord, have mercy. All I had to do was go back to the plan that I had received back in October and November and December when I was thinking on paper quietly in the mornings after my daily spiritual practice. And now I'm in this training and it's like, you need this. You need to answer these questions. Well, what about this? Well, you need to set up this. Well, and at every point, the answer had already been provided. The questions I needed answers to, I already had answers to. I was literally being pulled by the vision and giving birth to something brand new. See, last year, I thought that I was simply expanding my 90 Days to Greatness program. But what I was actually doing was preparing the way for a very brand new program. And this process was supporting me in giving birth to the Multi-Manifestor program. And then by the beginning of May, just a month later, the Multi-Manifestor program was a reality, something that I was not aware of or did not plan for when I had that little nudge last year this time. I launched a new course in June called the It's Still Possible Challenge with 11 founding members who have experienced amazing results. And then the app was launched a month later in the Apple App Store in July. And a month after that, the app was launched in the Google Play Store in August. And here's what's interesting. If the plan I had received last November had been, Greg, you're going to become an app developer in less than a year, that would have felt daunting. Yes, I have a background in tech, right? Yes, I have a background in IT, but and yes, I know some coding and some other things, but I have never desired to become an app developer. And again, the idea of it sounds daunting. I mean, now that's on my resume. I'm an app developer, right? And that sounds weighty and cool and accomplished, right? But if that's what had been said to me, I would have thought about all the reasons that I don't have time to do that. Like, yeah, okay, I'm sure I could go through the training and I can learn anything, but I don't have time for that. Like, do you realize all of the things that I have going on? Do you realize what I'm responsible for, right? I'm the senior IT manager for a global human rights nonprofit. I working across 10 time zones. Like, I don't have time for that. Do you realize what the obligations are being the pastor of Celebration Spiritual Center? Do you realize what it takes to prepare a sermon series week in and week out? Like, month in and month out, I don't have time for that. That might have been my first thing. But then also I might have thought about all the ways that I feel that I'm inadequate, right? Because that thing, shows up for all of us when something new is being asked of us, right? I would have thought about all the things that I don't know. But the other piece, again, as this was really supporting me and giving birth to something brand new, right? I'm thinking about a new company, but actually what it was doing was giving birth. It was time to sunset 90 Days to Greatness and sunrise Multi-Manifester. But see, 90 Days to Greatness is special to me because I remember when 90 Days to Greatness was an inspired idea. I remember when I started that program with just 3 people. Right? And I'm like, and now you want me to get rid of this thing? The 90 Days to Greatness program has done wonders for so many people. We've manifested millions of dollars through 90 Days to Greatness programs. People have found great success through the 90 Days to Greatness program. People have released weight through the 90 Days to Greatness program. They've healed their hearts, healed their minds, got new jobs. So many wonderful things have happened. Like, I don't want to just give that up. From that perspective, last year, that's probably the argument that I would have had. But as I was becoming the plan, when I reached that moment, that was clear. It was like, oh, wow, wait. I'm giving birth to something brand new. I'm giving birth to a brand new program, a new expression of this work that I do. And so this process changed me. I stand before you today and I am not the same person I was in October 2022. My consciousness changed, and as a result, my life changed. One of the other interesting parts for me, and I would share this with Pastor Yolanda as I was going through the process, and this is why the Making Room for God process is so critical and so important, because as I was going through the process of creating the app, right, going through, again, the tutorials, and, there's also a mindset piece that was important, and just moving through it step by step, right, following the directions. Sometimes I'm like, why are we doing this now? Or this doesn't make sense. I just kept trusting the process. And I was watching other people go through the same process because folks are signing up all the time and people are at different, places. It was wonderful to see, folks would in the group share when their app was launched. And so it was great to just have those reminders of like, okay, regular people are doing this, you're going to get there too, Greg. But I was also watching folks move through a lot of frustration. Right, I was watching a lot of people criticize the process, criticize the support team, criticize the app, criticize the platform, but we were all using the same thing. We all had the same training videos and support. but the experience and the outcome varied person to person. And this is where we get into the idea of consciousness, why consciousness is so important, and why we're clear about a process that then supports us in easily and effortlessly manifesting and demonstrating the plan as we become the plan. You see, because some of those people were taking action without vision. Some of those people were taking action, but they ain't done no clearing, right? They weren't aware of their connection to God life, recognizing their connection to wisdom and the all that it is. They weren't aware and doing anything that reinforced their relationship to it. They weren't doing anything and reinforcing the awareness that they are individualized expressions of this thing we call God life, and we have an obligation to express it. They were not doing the removing of thoughts and ideas that were standing in the way of the easy and free flow. Some of these people were taking action without receiving the plan and thus becoming the plan. So they were just operating off a so-called good idea. That's uninspired action. And what did we talk about in the very beginning? These three quotes: vision without action, action without vision just passes the time. Action without vision is a nightmare. Action without vision is chaos. And that's what I was seeing. They were going through chaos and blaming the platform. They were going through their nightmare and blaming the support team. They were going through their daydreams and blaming the process. Meanwhile, I'm over here having a wonderful time, just so grateful and thankful for the process and the ways in which it was carefully thought out from my perspective, and the way in which it just supported me. But you see, I had been becoming the plan last year. It wasn't the process that supported me. It wasn't the tutorials that supported me. It was the consciousness that supported me. And so as a teacher of these principles, I could see clearly what was happening. And I felt compassion for many as they moved from frustration to frustration. I could also see that they lacked the tools that we had talked about, the most important tool in the clearing step. Because see, I had moved through the process. And I had come back to those steps over and over again. This is important. Because even as I was going through the process and moving through the tutorials and working to build the app, did the doubts and fears show up? Absolutely. Did frustration show up? Absolutely. But what did I know to do? Because I was practicing this, removing any and all limiting concepts or patterns of thought which are preventing the fuller flow of God life through you. So then I knew the work I needed to do. One of the beautiful things about the 30-day mental diet, when you complete the 30-day mental diet, then you go back and pull out the readings that you think will support you in whatever it is that you're seeking to be, do, or have next. And so for me, it's like going into the next year. What are the readings? And so I go back to those readings. Oh, these were the four that stood out this time around. And so this is what I need to remember. This is what I need to be reminded of. This is what I need to clear. I kept making room for God as I watched the tutorials. I kept making room for God as I did the assignments. I kept making room for God when what I saw on the screen didn't match what I saw in the training. And I'm making room for God even as I continue to build the program and serve more people. CSC family, this is the way. This is the way it works. But it only works if you work it, right? It's not about these external hows, because again, hundreds, if not thousands of people are using the same platform, and many people are successfully launching apps, and it's wonderful across all different type of niches. But it's not about that, because there are a bunch of different platforms out there. But the consciousness that you bring to it is what's going to determine the outcome. And if you have not become the plan, then I guarantee that it's going to be like action without vision. It's going to be a nightmare. Action without vision. It's going to be chaos. Make room for God with each step. You are the plan. God in you is the plan. And with this plan, you cannot fail. So in this moment, I invite you to just take a deep breath in and breathe out. There is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in me, through me, and as me. There is one life. That life is God. That life is good. That life is perfect. That life is the universal plan. Hey, and that life is right here, right now. As I recognize that God is, and God is right here, right now, I know that it neither comes nor goes. Every expression of God is here now. Love, joy, peace, ease, answers, the universal plan, healing, joy, grace, power. It is here. It is here. It is here. It is here now, because God is here. God is here. God is here. God is here now. And it is out of this awareness that I remember and know that we are one with God, one with God and one of God. We are individualized, unique expressions of the all in all. Just as the wave is an individualized, unique expression of the ocean, so we are expressions of God. And this connection, this reality cannot be changed. This reality, this connection cannot be destroyed. This reality, this connection, it is, it is, it is. And right here and right now, we accept it. Right here and now, we allow it. We accept and allow and welcome our oneness. We accept and allow and welcome our oneness and connection to every answer, our oneness and connection to the plan, our oneness and connection to love's voice and love's mind. From this place of awareness, I speak this word in faith and expectation. I am grateful and thankful for these beautiful souls that are here, that are gathered and connected in this space that we call the weekend service of CSC. I am so grateful and thankful for you, you beautiful soul that is endeavoring to live the life that you have imagined. You beautiful soul that is endeavoring to make room for God right here and now. We are choosing to clear out the space so God can move through us. Right here and right now, we are opening our inner ear so that we can hear the voice of love whisper the sweet words to us, the sweet words of success, the sweet words of goals accomplished, the sweet words that lead us into becoming the plan. And right here and now, recognizing that we have received the plan, we know that we are the plan. We affirm, I am the plan. I am the plan. I am the plan. And here and now, recognizing that we are the plan and recognizing that the I am that I am is God in, through, and as us, we know that the how is not our business. So right here and right now, we rest, rely entirely on God, the universal plan. We rest and rely entirely on wisdom, the universal plan. We rest and rely entirely on the strength that is God to be strength in, through, and as us. And we know from this place of rest and reliance, we shall not fail. We know from this place of rest and reliance and trust and absolute knowing that all will be well in our lives, that which we endeavor to do, that plan that we have received, we will receive the steps, we will receive the tutorials, we will receive the videos, we will receive the right platform, we will receive the right access, we will receive the open doors, it will be affordable and it will be flawless, because that is how a healed mind always works. We are grateful for our healed minds and healed hearts. I am grateful and thankful for this series. I am grateful and thankful for the transforming power of this word. And I am grateful and thankful to be a witness to the ways in which this wisdom unfolds in, through, and as the lives of these beautiful souls that make up the beautiful and powerful, empowering community that is Celebration Spiritual Center. So with joy and thanksgiving, I release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always in operation, always responding to us and always becoming based on the feeling tone and the reality behind the words that we speak. It is done. It is accomplished. It is done. It is accomplished. From this place of awareness, we lift up our voices and we say, Amen, Ashe. And so it is. And so it must be. And so it must be.
Wow. This series has the potential, as many series do, but this one really is special and powerful and available for you to change whatever needs to be changed, for you to welcome in the plan, for you to clear out the space
Yeah.
so that you can become the plan. We at CSC, we talk about our lives and what we've moved through so that we can point the way, so that we can say, come this way, try this. This is an opportunity for you to try this. Try the series, try it on. Don't just listen and wait for next month's series. If there's an area in your life that is requiring a plan, that is requiring for you to become the plan, use this series. Use it all. Take the steps. And it's beautiful, this example that PG used, because he took the steps.
Yeah.
He didn't just pole vault onto the top of the platform. He took the steps. He moved through the process. You can do that too. He's not special. I'm not special. It's just how it works. And that's why we're here, to support you in doing what works.
Absolutely.
Quiet listening, clearing, quiet planning.
Yes.
It ain't loud, y'all. Its impact is loud. Its reach is big and powerful. The plan is resonating within you, whatever it is, for whatever it is. Take the steps.
Yep. Yep.
Quiet listening, quiet clearing, and quiet planning.
Yes, yes.
And allow yourself to become the plan.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
PG.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, in this moment, it is time for giving. You see the information on your screen, and you've seen it throughout the stream. It's very easy to give to CSC. You can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There's a $10 minimum for text to give, or you can go to our website, celbrationsc.org/give. You can also set up a recurring donation through either mode. It's definitely my favorite way to give because it keeps me consistent. And that's important, right, in giving our consistency. And so what's most important beyond the method, beyond the how, it's your consciousness behind your giving, right? Give what feels good. We say that for a very specific reason, because generally speaking, even outside of the context of churches, right, giving or circulating money, a lot of times people don't think it feels good, right? Folks are taught to, we learn as kids to like complain about bills, right? Like, you're an adult once you complain about, you have a bill to complain about, right?
Adulting is hard.
Right. Or, right. Yeah. All of that stuff. Right. So we've been taught to not think of money in a way that feels good, and definitely not the circulation of our money. And then we add, when we think of the church context, all of the shame and guilt and blame and things that we've adopted and learned. And so we want to interrupt that. We disrupt that by simply saying, give what feels good. Close your eyes, take a breath. What feels good? What amount feels good, right? What frequency feels good? And that's what you do, because that is how you will experience the true blessing of giving, right? Now, again, as I said, the frequency in terms of regular giving is important, right? Because there's flow, right? In the same way that we breathe in and breathe out regularly, right? We don't like breathe in and then hold our breath for 10 minutes and then breathe out. This is the reality, right? This is what giving is all about. And when you give from that place, when you just take a breath, right? Check in with yourself, what feels good, and give from that place, then you can really affirm these words and start to live and embody and experience the fruit of these words. All the money that I use.
All the money that I use.
Returns to me multiplied.
Returns to me multiplied.
In a never-ending cycle.
In a never-ending cycle.
Of increase.
Of increase.
And enjoyment.
And enjoyment.
To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. Well, we are so grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. I'm excited about next month's series. There's some wonderful things to share. As there are so many things happening in our world, I think this series will help to support you a bit in how to show up in this moment. There are many other series that can do that, and we'll probably highlight one of those next month. But in the context, I'm not going to be talking about Gaza specifically or Palestine specifically, right? But it's really the idea of divine discontent, right? And so when we feel something isn't right, right? What is that about? And then how do we work with that, right? And so that's what we're going to be dealing with. We have a short-ish month next month because we have Thanksgiving and we won't have service Thanksgiving weekend. So we're going to dive right in for those 3 weeks and bring something powerful. So if this is something that you think speaks to you, by all means, be ready, be here next Sunday, and of course, invite someone to join in, to tap in, who you know may also be looking for ways to deal with the divine discontent. So again, we are so grateful for each and every one of you, grateful for this community, grateful to be here for this space. And we trust that you will have an amazing remainder of your Sunday and an even better week. We love you, and we look forward to gathering with you in the Momentum Prayer Call on Wednesday, and then again next Sunday for the weekend service. Bye for now.
Bye for now.